The Apple Watch has been constantly bashed since its release in 2015, with countless articles saying that the Apple Watch was a flop or a failure. Well, 4 years later, it's time to admit that the Apple Watch is a huge success. Hey, what's going on everyone? Greg here, and Apple just came out with their most recent quarterly financial report, and while iPhone sales were down from anywhere to 30%, Apple Watch sales have been up over 50% year over year. In fact, this recent quarter is the best non-holiday quarter for the Apple Watch yet. Apple's wearables, home, and accessories set a profit of $5.1 billion for this quarter, which is a record quarter, a big number, especially for a non-holiday quarter. Just to put it into perspective, last year's quarter for this same time was $3.94 billion. This means that Apple added over $1 billion in revenue to the Apple Watch and wearables category. And although this category is pretty broad and does include things like the Apple AirPods and the Apple HomePod, the Apple Watch has been leading a lot of these sales. This product category has gotten so big that if you spun off the Apple wearables, home, and accessories into its own company, it would still make the Fortune 500. In fact, Apple's wearables category is now 9% of its total revenue, and you wouldn't really know this from the way that critics often say that the Apple Watch is a failure, but if you compare it to all of the other products in Apple's lineup, you can see that the wearables, home, and accessories category has overtaken the iPad in total revenue and is set to eclipse the Mac soon, with it being right behind there, with the Mac representing 10% of the sales and the Apple Watch right behind it at 9%. So if sales growth continues for the Apple Watch, which has been growing at 40 to 50% year over year, this product category is going to keep growing and growing and growing, and it's going to be one of Apple's most successful product categories right behind the iPhone and now services. Furthermore, 1 out of every 3 smartwatches that were sold last quarter was an Apple Watch. And that includes everyone in that market space, so competitors like Samsung, Fitbit, Huawei, and that huge others category. Out of all the sales in that category, 1 out of 3 of those smartwatches was an Apple Watch, which is even more impressive when you realize that Apple Watches can only be purchased by iPhone customers. Other people in this category, like Fitbit, can sell independently to Android or iPhone owners, so it really makes you wonder how big would the Apple Watch be if it was compatible with Android or if it did work independently from the iPhone. And it makes you wonder what would happen if Apple made the Apple Watch an independent product, or a product that could work with Android. I think it would have a very similar effect to when Apple allowed the iPod to work with Windows, and then iPod sales started to skyrocket. And now in the wild, I am seeing Apple Watches everywhere, and from these sales reports, we can see that the Apple Watch is indeed a huge success and could possibly be an even bigger success when Apple finally makes it an independent device, which makes you wonder why some of these articles are being written as early as last year, with the New York Times saying Apple used to know exactly what people wanted, then it made a watch. Well, based on these sales reports and based on how much people love their Apple Watches, I think it's fair to say that Apple still knows what the consumer wants. Now, why is the Apple Watch such a huge success, especially compared to its competitors, and especially in regards to Android Wear? And I really think it's because the Apple Watch hardware and software really stands apart from the competition. The Apple Watch has always been a pretty impressive piece of hardware, but I think the most recent release of the Series 4 Apple Watch really puts it into perspective how awesome this little device is. Not only does it have an amazing all-screen design, but it also has really accurate fitness tracking, it has a really accurate heart rate monitor, and now it's packing new health features like the ECG heart rate monitor, which is now rolling out to other countries across the globe. Another factor is that the hardware inside of the Apple Watch has gotten really good, with the S4 chip being an engineering marvel. When the Apple Watch was first released, it relied a lot on the iPhone to do the processing power for the Apple Watch. But as Apple has refined the software, as Apple has made hardware improvements to the S series of chips, Apple now lets the Apple Watch do all of the processing power. I said in my review of the Series 4 Apple Watch that one of the things that impressed me the most about it was just the raw speed in compared to all of the previous iterations of the Apple Watch. Everything on the Series 4 just runs incredibly smoothly, everything loads really quickly, and the software is very fluid. There's no official Geekbench benchmark for the Apple Watch, but developers Stephen Troughton-Smith tried to see just how powerful the Series 4 Apple Watch was, and when he ran a graphics test using Metal, he said that the Apple Watch Series 4 was comparable to the processing power of an iPhone 6s. And the fact that you can get all of this processing power already strapped to your wrist makes me really excited about the future possibilities of the Apple Watch as this computing unit that you would have everywhere with you and that could work wirelessly with other devices. So even though the hardware and software on the Apple Watch is second to none, there are still other factors that make the Apple Watch a success. And one of the big reasons I think that people like the Apple Watch and I think it's succeeding is, to put it frankly, the Apple Watch is changing and saving lives. It's no secret that I've debuted my story on this channel that I lost a lot of weight using my Apple Watch, and since I've put that video up, I've gotten countless emails and tweets about other people sharing very similar stories about how they used to be really out of shape, and then when they got an Apple Watch, all of a sudden they started to get motivated, they started to care more about their health and fitness. And even though this might be anecdotal evidence, almost everyone who in my personal life who has gotten an Apple Watch, I've seen them take a more proactive approach to their fitness routine. Now that alone would be a pretty monumental step to get people to actually care more about their fitness, to get people to move around more from their sedentary lifestyles where most of us are usually just sitting down all day in front of a computer. That alone, that change in society is huge, but it doesn't stop there for the Apple Watch, because the Apple Watch is literally saving people's lives. Every day I see story after story after story of the Apple Watch alerting customers of an irregular heartbeat or a very high heartbeat that tells them to seek medical attention. When they seek that medical attention, it seems that the Apple Watch was correct and that there was something going wrong with their heart. And a lot of the doctors say, thank God you were wearing that Apple Watch, because if you didn't come in, you might not be here. Not only was the Apple Watch able to alert customers that they had an irregular heartbeat through atrial fibrillation, or that maybe they might be suffering a heart attack, but the Apple Watch was actually able to help a teenage girl realize that she was going through kidney failure, and she was able to go and seek medical attention, and the Apple Watch saved her life. Not only is the Apple Watch saving people by detecting these rhythms in their heartbeat, but it's also saving people by just being a constant communication device that is strapped to your wrist. So in one instance, there was a kite surfer who was stranded, and all he had on him was his cellular Apple Watch, and through his Apple Watch, he was able to call for help. And it goes even further with the Series 4 Apple Watch now featuring fall detection. So if you suffer a fall and then you don't respond on your Apple Watch that you're okay, the Apple Watch will automatically call emergency services, and that feature alone this year has already saved a couple of lives. So not only is the Apple Watch a financial success, and not only is it a fitness success, but it's also a success that it is helping people out, that it is saving people's lives. And I really think that this is just the beginning. We don't know what other future plans that Apple has for the Apple Watch, but I am very hopeful for the future, with the CEO Tim Cook saying that one of Apple's biggest contributions to mankind will be its efforts in the health sector, and what product is leading the way in the health sector? That would be the Apple Watch. People are constantly asking what will Apple's next big thing be, but that might already be strapped to your wrist. All right, everyone, but enough about what I think. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Do you agree with me that the Apple Watch is a huge success? If you like the video, make sure you give me a like. If you want to see more from my channel, make sure you're subscribed. If you want to buy an Apple Watch and help out the channel, make sure you check out the links in the description. And as always, I will see you all in the next video. Take care, everyone.